Barakta Yahweh, Barakta Yahushai, Barakta Yahweh, Barakta Yahushai, Barakta Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahushai, Ba'ashem, Wakadash. Double honors and salutations to the elders and apostles of Brimstone Ruel, and to the Akim tribe of Falcons of the earth, preaching the gospel for Mashiach Yahushai in sincerity and truth and diligence of mind. This brother Nasha DC Camp short lesson for the hopeful elect. Yep. So you already know, they talk about February being the Black History Month, but end of the day, you're not really gonna get the whole details when you keep listening to all these media heads and media personalities and all those pundits, right? Because it's just a misdirection. And the more you dig in and you do your research, you just figure out that you know what our people they were fighting for civil rights and equality and for justice in this system. You know, they were misguided, all right? They were trying to make things change according to their own wisdom, but not according to the wisdom of the Most High, Yahweh Bashim Shai Bashim Kodash, and that's why they failed miserably, and that's why they were easily infiltrated. And those that that survived till this day, they're still confused. They don't really understand what's really going on. And as a man of the Lord, you have a better view of the situation now. All right, because this is around the time that the word of the Lord began to spring up. All right, the late 60s, the early 70s. All right, the whole country of the United States was enamored with what civil rights and the war in Vietnam. But little did they know that the Lord had other plans, all right, as part the gospel being preached, you know, on the highways, on the byways, and you have the fruits of that labor, all right, when you talk about Abba Bivens, and you hear about Yaquab and, you know, the elderly apostle Yaquab that passed on, you know, you're just surprised at how the Lord orchestrates certain things. And then you understand the reason why. You know, the Lord tells us, follow not a multitude to do evil. And that's how, you know, all these so-called popular movements fell, because they are not ordained of the Lord to represent the people. All right, they were frustrated and they got caught up, you know, in the system of Babylon, in the nets of Babylon. But when you serve the Lord Hamashiach Yahushai, there's nothing the enemy can do to prevent you from preaching the gospel, all right, because you're coming in the name of Hamashiach Yahushai. These other groups back then and now, they didn't do that. So that's a big sign. Let me say a big, you know, also a big woe onto them. All right. So that's the reason why it's very important, man. You know, you pay attention to what's going on. Be circumspect. And you have to understand the value of the wisdom, knowledge, and understanding that the Lord Hamashiach Yahushua has set before you. And when the apostle talk about their experiences, then you have a better understanding of why the Lord allows certain things to happen. So I'm going to read from the book of Deuteronomy, chapter 28, verse 68. All right, because it's very, very necessary. All right, you learn the lessons of those that fell. All right, the zealots. All right, you're thinking that struggling for legal representation, for legal recognition is gonna get our people somewhere in this system. It's not. It's just you know, a distraction, a sideshow. So the book of Deuteronomy chapter 28 verse 68 says, and the Lord Yahweh shall bring thee into Egypt again with ships, by the way of I spake unto thee. All right, by the way whereof I spake unto thee. Thou shalt see it no more again, and there ye shall be sold unto your enemies, for bondmen and bondwomen, and no man shall buy you. All right, and that's a very, very important lesson our people need to learn and relearn. All right, because every single day you have to remind yourself that you're in Babylon and you're in captivity. All right, that you're in Egypt and you're in captivity, and only the Lord Hamashiach Yahushua can get you out of here. All right, so all those folks all there, giving out flyers, standing out there, telling people to come to our meeting, come to our so-called protest march. Don't pay those folks no mind, man, because at the end of the day, they're just empty vessels. What you need to be focusing on is the words of the Lord, which in the Holy Scriptures, in sincerity and truth. All right? And the way of truth that has been hidden for thousands of years is being made known. So our people need to hold on to it. All right? And not, be delving into this other philosophies that has no idea, no firm foundation. All right. So another precept I read will be from the book of Proverbs chapter 5. All right, because it's really, really important that people learn the lessons, man, from all these groups that thought they could stand up to the dragon, all right, stand up to Babylon and think they could make them be recognized. But it's not going to happen that way. That's why the Lord Yahweh Shai says there's nothing they can do against the truth, but for the truth. And the truth is from the Holy Scriptures. So they don't have the foundation to defeat you when you come according to the words of Hamashiach Yahushua, when you come according to the words of prophecy. So the book of Proverbs chapter 5 verse 15 tells you that drink water out of thine own cistern. And what's your own cistern? These words, the words of the Lord, the laws, statutes, and commandments, and the prophecies, all right? And the words of Hamashiach Yahushua and the apostles, all right? It says, and running waters out of thine own well, all right? So your heritage, all right? You got Psalms, you got Proverbs, you got the book of Sirach, you got the book of Genesis, you got the Gospels of Hamashiach Yahushua, you got the Acts of the Apostles, you got the book of Revelation. So that's exactly what you need to be, involved with. Okay, not the philosophies of this world or have to petition the so-called government. That's not what we're here for in Babylon. All right. Verse 16 says, "Let thy fountains be dispersed abroad, and rivers of water in the streets." And that's why you're on the highways and byways looking for your people to let them know that they need to hold on to the words of prophecy found in the Holy Scriptures. And then it says in verse 17, let them be only thine own, and not strangers with thee. So you have to focus on the knowledge of the Heavenly Father that is passed on to our forefathers, Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. The Moses, King David, Solomon, and the prophets. All right, not the agendas of this world. It says, let them be only thine own, and not strangers with thee. So you shouldn't be focusing on what the Moabites are doing, man, on their philosophy, on the philosophy of these Edomites concerning the constitution, this constitution, that. It's not going to get you anywhere. All right, I'm focusing on all that, the 5% of this and 2% of that, and being a so-called oath keeper and all this, striving for a revolution. That's nonsense, man. All right, so it's Proverbs 5 and 17 says, let them be only thine own, and not strangers with thee. All right, so you have to learn, how to stay in your own lane, which is the Holy Scriptures. You have to learn to put on the whole garment. All right, and that way your victory is going to be assured. So let me just play this clip real quick, man. Show you how Esau was able to, crush the Panthers, man.
This is Democracy Now!, democracynow.org, The Quarantine Report. I'm Amy Goodman with Juan Gonzalez. As Black History Month begins today, we look back at the assassination of Black Panther leader Fred Hampton in Chicago 51 years ago, and how new documents reveal more details about the FBI's role in the murder of the 21-year-old revolutionary. Fred Hampton was killed December 4th, 1969, when Chicago police raided his apartment and shot and killed him in his own bed. Black Panther leader Mark Clark was also killed by police in that raid. Authorities initially claimed the Panthers had opened fire on the police who were there to serve a search warrant for weapons. Evidence later emerged that told a very different story. The FBI, the Cook County State's Attorney's Office, and Chicago police had conspired to assassinate Fred Hampton. Now, several hundred pages of FBI memos and reports obtained by historian and writer Aaron Leonard through a Freedom of Information Act request document that the director of the FBI's Domestic Intelligence Division, William Sullivan, and the head of the extremist section of the Domestic Intelligence Division, George Moore, both played key roles in planning the raid and the cover-up that followed. For more on what these documents by Flint Taylor and Jeff Haas, founding members of the People's Law Office in Chicago, who are the lead lawyers in the landmark Fred Hampton and Mark Clark civil rights case, their new piece.
Yeah, so they didn't stop back then, and they're not going to stop back now because they understand exactly what's at stake. All right, because on this police department and all these so-called federal agencies are there to do the biddings of the elites. All right, the so-called international bankers. All right, and they want to keep their plantation according to their plans for the New World Order. And you have a better understanding what it's all about because they have to keep, their power. They have to keep their power seats, and they are threatened when anyone comes up with some ideas to let the people know that they're being bamboozled, and that's the reason why they have to infiltrate groups and try to turn people against each other. They hack into people's accounts. They file wiretapping requests and all that stuff. So that's Esau for you, man. He understands, what's going on. He's trying his best, his damn best, to push that envelope of censorship. And the elite are upset, man. You could tell very, very well from back then, even up to now, that they're upset. That's the reason why they had redlining. That's the reason why they're pushing so hard to keep so-called Negroes, the so-called Latinos, and the so-called Native Americans down. And you know that we're the Israelites, and the elites know that. And now that the name Israel is being pushed out heavily and heavily and heavily, these agents are upset and they're sad, man. Like, well, the evidence is there that they're Israelites, and they still got to come against us, and not knowing that they're only doing it to their own shame. So you're going to see the defeat of your enemies before you, all right? And they always think that it's a joke, when you read out of the Holy Scriptures, and that the Lord is just a figment of your imagination, all right? And they're going to find out soon, and they're going to find out the hard way, all right? That's why you gotta trust in the Lord, and don't be such a desperate, don't be so desperate to go join a group that will lead you astray. You gotta trust in the Lord. Pray that Hamashiach Yahushua lead you in the right path. All right, and the book of Romans, chapter 10, verse 1 tells you, brethren, my heart's desire and prayer to Yahweh Shema Shabbat Shema Kwakodash for Israel is that they might be saved. And that's what's on our mind. And this time around, only the elect is going to be delivered. So those folks that are getting themselves concerned with Black Lives Matters and all these civil rights struggles and all that stuff, they're going to fall by the wayside, all right? Because these words of the Lord are very, very serious. And That's why, the elites are fighting tooth and nail to corrupt the doctrine, and they have their agents. So, just like Volker Malone and General Bigfoot, trying to pervert the gospel. So Romans chapter 10 verse 2 says, "For I bear them record that they have a zeal of the Most High, but not according to knowledge." And that's exactly why, these so-called civil rights groups fail. Especially those that our people get involved in. All right. And then verse 3 says, For they, being ignorant of the Most High's righteousness, and going about to establish their own righteousness, have not submitted themselves unto the righteousness of the Most High. All right. So they're only concerned about, that daily livings and their dignities and all that stuff, but not knowing that you have something greater, to look forward to, which is the kingdom. All right. They weren't really, aware, according to their nationality, what they needed to do. And that's the reason why the Lord set up the apostles last. All right. So let me just play a few more of this.
For Truth Out is headline news. J. Edgar Hoover was involved in Fred Hampton's murder. Jeff Haas, let's begin with you. You wrote a book about Fred Hampton. Talk about what these new documents show and what you see as the smoking gun of J. Edgar Hoover's direct involvement.
Thank you, Amy. Well, first of all, it's 51 years after the incident and 40-some years after the trial. We had never gotten these documents before. But what they showed was that Hoover and Sullivan and Moore were following Roy Mitchell, a special agent in charge, very closely with regard to O'Neill. And they were complimenting him and rewarding him from the moment he gave the information and the floor plan.
Yep, so that's how meticulous they are when they have to come against, people that are tired of the system of oppression or that's being controlled by the elites. So once the elites are upset and they're nervous and they try to hold on, they give the green light to their so-called peons in these agencies to devise a plan to keep someone, shut up and all that stuff. So that's now you hear the news media talking about conspiracy this, conspiracy that. Yeah, because they're upset that they're losing their grip on power, and they have to crash the system as quick as possible. But hey, it's not really going to go well according to their plan, because the Lord has something better than what they have to offer. So they're going to fail miserably. So Hosea 4:6 says, "My people are destroyed for lack of knowledge, because thou hast rejected knowledge, I will also reject thee, that thou shalt be no priest to me, seeing thou hast forgotten the law of thy power. I will also forget thy children." And this is exactly what happens, when the Lord turns his back against our people that are trying to make Babylon suitable for themselves. So, you just have to be, be prayerful in these last days that you don't get caught up in all this drama for people looking for civil rights and representation from the government here in Babylon, man. That's not exactly why we're here. We're here to just preach the gospel, do your time on the plantation and wait upon the Lord. And there's a reason why I get in Zephaniah chapter 3, verse 8, it says, "Therefore wait ye upon me, saith the Lord, until the day that I rise up to the prey. For my determination is to gather the nations, that I may assemble the kingdoms, to pour upon them my indignation, even all my fierce anger. For all the earth shall be devoured with the fire of my jealousy." So that's serious judgment that's coming upon the face of the earth. And the funny thing is that all these so-called officers and agents that were involved in all this assassination. Some of them are still alive, man. They're in their 80s and their 90s. So you'd be surprised, man. Who you might be seeing in all these old folks' home. Who you might see in the grocery store. Whose grandchild you're picking up. That's how small the world is, and that's how, the Lord can make things happen. So you just gotta be aware, man, that you just have to let the Lord, do his work. Because by you trusting the Lord, you've already gotten the victory. All right? So that's the point that I can don't get entangled with all this so-called civil rights mumbo jumbo, man. That's not exactly why we're here. We're here to preach the gospel, be at peace with those around you, and just do your time on the plantation, and the Lord will handle the rest. Shalom.